Hey, what's going on? So, today is November 8th, 2024. And I'm sorry that the microphone quality isn't the best. I'm currently driving right now, using the internal microphone in my car, my shitty Hyundai Tucson. Doesn't matter anyway. I mean, no one's listening to this. No one cares what I have to say. But I wanted to make this video regardless. Express my thoughts. Articulate how I've been feeling about the recent election that just took place in the States. I feel like there's a lot on my mind that I want to get out. I mean, I'll try not to make this too long. I should start off by saying that I live with parents and have a family who are all collectively very right-wing, conservative, evangelical Christians. And I've only seen them become increasingly crazed and out of touch, to put it lightly, with what they believe in. And I've witnessed firsthand the consequences of misinformation on social media, and how, for a lot of people, like my family, they become wrapped up in these right-wing misinformation bubbles, and they just completely lose touch. They start hallucinating a reality that doesn't exist. And these people have become so insulated in these echo chambers, they become even less informed than someone who isn't informed in any direction. Just the average apolitical person. And, listening to people in my family just speak and talk about world events, politics, just the amount of mind-boggling ignorance, bigotry, racism, homophobia, you name it. But nearly everything that they are genuinely concerned about and work themselves up over, almost all of it is just completely manufactured garbage. Whether it's Haitian migrants eating cats, or trans pedophile groomers infiltrating children's classrooms to turn them gay. Maybe that's a more extreme description of it, but it paints a picture for how insulated these right-wing bubbles have become, and how, I guess, the American conservative movement at large has very successfully been able to cultivate a network of propaganda, both in the media and online. Of course, there's Fox News that's been around for decades and has rotted the brains of so many boomers. So the results of this election have been, fairly devastating. Kind of feels like a bad dream. I never ruled out the possibility of Republicans winning. I never liked Kamala Harris. She ran a conservative campaign for a Democrat. She ran to the right on many issues, trying to outflank Republicans on immigration, being tough on the border. She said that she would appoint Republicans in her cabinet. She campaigned with Liz Cheney, and she was banking on moderate Republicans and people in the suburbs to come out and vote for her. And, well, obviously that failed. It failed miserably. This has been a demonstrable failure. And as people are trying to pick up the pieces and figure out what went wrong, you have Democratic Party consultants, people in the consultant class from the Obama world, from the Clinton world, basically saying that the problem is, like, the reason why Kamala lost is because she was too woke. She went too far left, and it's fucking bullshit. Bullshit. She ran a very conservative campaign for a Democrat, and she lost because she wasn't offering any real alternative. She was adopting many Republican positions. Like, if your campaign message is just a Republican light platform, people are just going to vote for Republicans. Simple as that. But yeah, you're already seeing people within the Democratic Party establishment taking away the exact wrong lessons, just like in 2016, because they so desperately want to cling on to the ideology of centrist neoliberalism. That's all they know. And they're just going to keep repeating the same mistakes over and over again. And, another reason why the Democratic Party has failed is because they have, in many ways, rooted out and stymied any progressive momentum within their party. If you remember back in 2020 during the primaries, when Bernie's campaign was becoming quite successful. I think it was in the aftermath of Bernie winning Nevada. I think he won Nevada. But basically what happened was Obama and other Democratic Party elites were orchestrating an effort behind the scenes to have all the other candidates drop out at around the same time to consolidate their support behind Joe Biden to prop him up. He had millions of dollars pumped into media messaging, telling primary voters that Joe Biden is the most electable. You have to vote for Joe Biden. And it worked, because primary voters operate differently from voters in the general election. So, Joe Biden, who was already a carcass, a human fossil in 2020, was forced upon us. And because of the unique circumstances in 2020, thanks to COVID, that largely carried them to the presidency. I truly believe that if it weren't for COVID, he would have lost. And we can see that in the results of the 2020 election. In many of these swing states, Biden won by razor-thin margins, like less than a percentage point. Joe Biden also received an historic number of votes overall. It was over 80 million, I believe, in total. Again, that's also thanks to the circumstances at the time and the ease of access with mail-in ballots for people to vote. And that's it. I think people were also just fed up with Trump, 4 years of Trump. But, people also have short-term memory. Inflation has increased the cost of living has increased for many people. And I think what also cost the Democrats this election is just the selfishness of Joe Biden. He was clearly unfit to run for re-election, and he should have stepped aside sooner and allowed for an open primary to happen instead of Kamala Harris being the de facto replacement. So now we're here, and the worst case scenario has taken place. Again, I never ruled out the possibility of Trump winning. I think a lot of people wrongly assumed in the lead up to Election Day that Kamala's chances were decent. I guess I never accounted for how big of a margin it would be, and it's just absolutely devastating results. And there was definitely a shock among many people at the silence in the airwaves. My family was over at the time, or my half brother, and I was stuck with them watching the election. And they were, of course, ecstatic over Trump winning. And I just kept very silent, as I always do around them. I wasn't really saying anything. So, a long time ago, let's say like 6-7 years ago, when I was really invested in politics and was shaping my worldview, I would consider myself a leftist and anti-capitalist. I became interested in climate change, and the kind of future that we were barreling towards, I recognized was horrifying, and it would require some serious mobilization, especially on the part of the U.S., to try and combat it and to change course. We are far past that point, and the election of Trump for a second term will have long-lasting consequences. It's over. I genuinely believe that. I think Trump's election raises a lot of concerns. America is a very sick society. It's a country in crisis. It exposes some of the moral rot and decay within the American public. I think George Carlin in many ways is correct. Garbage in, garbage out. American politicians are only reflective of the American people, and people are stupid. But that's not a message that wins hearts and minds. If you're in the business of politics, you need to find ways of reaching those people, to offer them a message of true progressive change and empathy. And the Democratic Party simply is not doing that, and they don't care to do that at all, because their modus operandi is of corporate neoliberal centrism, and they will continue making the same mistakes over and over and over